So let's begin lying in Shavasana, feet rolling away from the center of your mat, arms by your side. Just breathing through your nostrils, so deep inhales and deep exhales. Focusing on your breath, begin to quiet your mind, and just bring yourself into the present moment. So with each exhale, letting go, allowing all of the breath to leave your body. And with each inhale, just taking the opportunity to be present in the moment on your mat. And continuing to work with breath, just drawing your right knee in toward your chest when relieving the pose, wrapping arms around right shin, so interlacing fingers. Grounding down into left leg, flexing left foot, drawing right thigh in closely toward the abdomen. Softening shoulders as you do this. And take a twist, just taking your right knee across the left side of the body toward the left side of the mat. You can place your left hand on the outside of the right thigh and extend your right fingertips toward the right side of the room and gaze long fingertips. Just continue deep breathing, engaging Ujjayi breath. So small constriction through the back of the throat, bringing sound to the breath, engaging the muscles of the throat, and begin to warm your body internally. And then coming out of the twist, extending right leg and draw your left leg in toward wind relieving pose. So extend your right leg, interlace fingers around left shin, flexing right foot, and just drawing the thigh in toward the abdomen. Deep inhale down the length of spine. Exhaling, hollow the low belly and draw the thigh in closer. So can your arms be strong and at the same time shoulders soft? And then taking the twist, exhaling, bring your left knee across the right side of your body toward the right side of the mat. You can place your right hand on the outside of your left thigh and extend left fingertips and gaze long fingertips. Soft gaze, long breath, just allowing the knee to get heavy, the shoulder blade to stay heavy toward the mat, deepening the twist. And then coming back to center, bend the knees. Place your fingertips to the backs of the thighs, rock up and down the length of your spine from the nape of the neck to the tailbone. 2 to 3 big rocks massaging your spine. And then turning around and coming into child's pose, knees wide, big toes touch. Move toward the back edge of your mat so you have plenty of space in front of you to extend your arms. Let your forehead sink to the mat and let your tailbone sink to your heels. Begin to crawl your fingertips far up the mat toward the wall in front of you. Hands are shoulder width apart. And ground into the knuckles of the hands. So it's particularly the index and the thumb knuckle. And then feel the forearms lifting away from the mat as you do this. Keeping the arms engaged, inhale, curl toes under. Exhale, downward dog, straightening the legs, pressing the heels down. You can bicycle the legs, left and right. Just creating some space through the hamstrings. If your legs are tight today, you can take your feet mat width apart. Even if it's just for the first downward dog, creating some space in the backs of the legs. Take a few breaths here, softening ribs in toward the body, pressing shoulder blades down into the back, and really thinking about rolling upper arm bones away from the head, creating some space around neck and shoulders. And then we'll inhale forward to plank. So 2 variations in plank. You could lower the knees, and if you lower the knees down to the mat, just make sure that you send the hips forward slightly so that you can feel a long line from the backs of the knees to the crown of your head. If you keep your knees up, pressing back through the heels, drawing forward through crown of head, and in either variation, engaging your core, hugging navel and ribs into the body. From here, we'll take 5 chaturanga push-ups, warming up the arms. We're going to exhale to lower halfway, and inhale to press back up. Exhale to lower 4, inhale, press back up. 3, plank, inhale. Exhale 2, elbows directing to the back of the room. Inhale, press back up. Last one, exhale. Inhale, plank, downward dog, exhale. Take a deep inhale here, deep exhale. And then inhale forward into your plank, lowering the knees if you're going to take them down to the mat. And you're going to exhale halfway, chaturanga. And then coming into upward dog or cobra. So if you're coming to cobra, come all the way down to the mat. Otherwise, coming into up dog, lifting knees, thighs, and pelvis away from mat. Curl your toes under, send your hips back, downward dog. So either variation, knees down cobra or knees up and upward dog. Let's take that again. Inhale forward to your plank, lowering the knees if you need to. Exhale, lower. You can either lower all the way down, coming into low cobra, or coming through to the tops of the feet, upward dog, knees, thighs, pelvis lift. Curl your toes under, tuck your chin to your chest, and send your hips back, downward dog. Lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. You can step, hop, or walk your feet to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift halfway, pressing into shins or mat. Exhale to fold. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, pressing into shins or mat, looking forward, lifting halfway. Exhale to fold. Last time, inhale, lift, feel front body lifting into back body, spine is long. Exhale, melting, head gets heavy, sides of neck are soft. Coming up to stand, inhale, arms sweep up. And then hands come through heart center, exhale. Surya Namaskar A, inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale, lifting halfway. And then planting your hands, you can step back or jump back, chaturanga. And then lowering down, exhaling, upward dog or cobra, inhale. Curl your toes, send your hips back, downward dog, exhale. Deep inhale. Exhale, lift heels, bend knees, look forward. You can walk, step, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift halfway, and exhale to fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Hands come through, heart center, exhale. Again, inhale, arms sweeping up. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale, lifting halfway. Planting your hands, you can jump chaturanga, step to plank, knees up or down, lowering chaturanga. And then cobra, inhale or upward dog. Curl your toes, tuck your chin to your chest and send your hips back, downward dog. Deep inhale, deep exhale, lift heels, bend knees, look forward, walk, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. Inhaling, arms sweep up, and hands come through heart center. Moving into tree, grounding through left foot, right foot comes to ankle calf or up into the inner thigh. So hands can begin in prayer. Eyes are steady. You can extend fingertips alongside ears. You can take reverse prayer or opposite elbows behind your back. Melting shoulders away from ears. You can drawing that right knee toward the back of the room behind you. Just finding some space in the right inner thigh. Moving into either toppling tree or warrior 3. Hands can remain extended if they're alongside ears for warrior 3. Your hands can come through prayer. Draw right knee toward the mirror. And then kicking right leg behind you, keeping it up away from the mat, extending the right leg straight behind you. You can extend fingertips toward the back wall, palms down. Wrapping right inner thigh up toward the ceiling. Hugging navel and ribs in toward the body, engaging your core to support your torso. And we're going to take a big leap of faith behind us into a lunge. A big step toward the back of the mat. Right fingertips rather reaching up alongside ears. Always the option of a low lunge. You could lower the back knee down, or you could keep the back leg lifted to create strength in the back, or both legs rather. Taking a deep inhale here, lifting the back knee if it's down. We open warrior 2, exhale. So pivoting the back foot so the outer edge of the back foot lines up with the back edge of the mat, and slightly pigeon toe the back foot. So turn your back toes in a little bit more narrow than the heel, and bend deep into the front knee. Knee right over ankle, gaze across the fingertips. Keeping the eyes locked. Moving into side angle pose, bringing left forearm onto the thigh, right fingertips towards ceiling to start variation 1. So you can stay here, or you can reach right fingertips alongside the ear, turning the pinky down and the thumb up, gazing toward the right hand. And you could possibly take left hand to the mat or onto a block, depending on how deep you'd like to take this. No matter where your arms are, keep pulling left hip back and into the body, and bending deep into front knee. If you practice binds, you could take a bind here as well. So left arm coming underneath left thigh, right arm coming around low back looking for fingertips behind you, using the grip to roll right shoulder away from right collarbone. Taking a deep inhale here, holding for the exhale. And look down at the front foot, release the bind if you have it, warrior two, windmill the arms back up, shoulder height. And then reverse warrior, back hand down, back leg, reaching left fingertips up and over, softening left shoulder away from left ear. And from here we windmill the arms, plant the hands and step back into plank. Inhaling in plank, lowering the knees if you're taking them to the mat, and then exhale to lower chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog, inhale. Curl toes, send hips back, exhale, downward dog. Deep inhale. And as you exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, and step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, fold, melting over legs. Inhale, arms sweep up. And hands come through heart center, exhale. Taking tree on the other side, so round through the right foot and take the left foot onto the ankle, onto the calf, or into the inner thigh. Pressing the foot into the leg, and the leg back into the foot. Hands begin in prayer. You could extend fingertips alongside your ears, or take opposite elbows or reverse prayer behind your back. Eyes are steady. So moving toward warrior three or toppling tree. Arms could remain extended or bring your hands into prayer as you find the left knee toward front of room, extending the left leg behind you, keeping the foot lifted. Arms beside the body, fingertips pointing toward the back of the room, palms down. Hugging navel and ribs in, engaging your core. Finding high lunge. Arms extending alongside ears. Lowering the back knee down. If you're creating an opening through the front of the left leg and working on flexibility, you can keep the knee up if you're working on strength in the legs. Take an inhale here, lifting the back knee up now if it's down and open into your warrior two. Exhaling, pivoting back foot in line with the back edge of the mat, bending deep into front knee. Gazing along fingertips. Moving into side angle pose, take the front arm onto the thigh, left fingertips extending toward the ceiling. You could stay here, or you could take the top arm toward the wall in front of you, alongside left ear, gazing at the hand. Maybe the right hand comes to the mat or onto a block, or working into a bind if that's part of your practice. So in the bind, your right arm comes underneath your right thigh toward the low back, and then your left hand comes around low back. Maybe you find fingertips behind your back and interlace them, rolling left shoulder away from left collarbone, taking this twist deeper. One more breath here. Releasing the bind if you're in it, look down, warrior two, take the arms back up, shoulder height, inhaling, and then windmill the arms, plant the hands. Actually, let's come back to reverse. Come back to warrior two, I'm human, back hand down, back leg, right fingertips reaching up and over. Great, reversing warrior, can't skip that one. And then we come back through, exhale, windmill, plant the hands, step back into plank, and lower chaturanga. Lowering the knees if you need to. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Curl your toes and send your hips back, downward dog. Deep inhale, and deep exhale. Bend the knees, lift the heels, look forward. You can jump, walk, or step to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift halfway, and exhale to fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. And then hands come through heart center, exhale. Taking Utkatasana, bend the knees, sit the hips back, and sweep your arms up alongside your ears. So Utkatasana, awkward pose, hugging navel and ribs in. And think of wrapping hip points toward the navel. Just a small movement that's going to lengthen your tailbone as you sit deeper. Holding for 3 more breaths. And then taking a deep inhale. Exhale, fold forward, straightening the legs, melting over legs. Pressing into the shins of the mat, lift halfway, inhaling. And then plant your hands, you can step back or jump back, taking your vinyasa, maybe the knees are lower. Exhaling. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Curl your toes and send your hips back, downward dog, warrior one, right foot forward, and left heel lowers to the mat. Heel to heel alignment, arms extending toward the ceiling. If balance is an issue, you can have a space between the heels as though your feet are on either side of a line going down the center of your mat. Melting shoulders down your back, continue deep breathing. And lower the arms behind your back and interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders back, gazing up, lifting the chest. Inhale, and exhale to fold forward. Bring your right shoulder to the inside of your right knee without resting on the thigh. So your right hip is going to want to stick out to the right side of the room. Can you keep pulling that right hip back and into the body? And press so firmly into your feet it feels like your mat's going to rip in half. And allow the strength of the legs to let you soften into the forward fold. Head is heavy, neck is soft. And then we inhale, coming back up. Warrior one. So staying in warrior one, we're going to lift onto the ball of the back foot, just like you're coming into a lunge. Straighten the back leg, sink the heel toward the mat, but keep it floating. Begin to straighten your front leg. And then you're going to reach forward, hinging from the hips. Staying long through spine, folding over front leg, fingertips come down to the mat. So try to keep both legs straight. You could prop the hands up using blocks, or you could take your hands back, just like you're in runner's lunge, or take them onto the waist for support. So instead of the arms hanging, just placing them somewhere that you feel strong and supported. Long spine. And lifting halfway, looking forward, lower down onto your back knee. Great. So bring it all the way down to the mat, and just sliding your front foot forward toward the top of the mat. Great. And then place your fingertips down on the mat and begin to straighten your front leg and flex your front foot. So we're going to come into half Hanumanasana, half split. So it's totally fine if it doesn't look like a half split. We're just working toward finding some space in the front leg. So flexing the foot. It's okay if there's a bend in the knee. It's okay if there's a small tremble, but not forcing a straight leg. Keeping as much of a bend as you need. Just keep sending hips back and lengthening chest forward. And then coming back forward, grounding to the front foot, curl the back toe under, lifting the knee. Walk your hands toward the left side of the room, wide-legged forward fold. So if you need to take a wider or a shorter stance between the feet, toes move in more narrow than the heels, and then walking your hands toward your heels. If your fingertips are lightly grazing mat and that's far enough for you, then you can keep your fingertips like that, or you can place your hands onto blocks. If you would like some space in the neck or the shoulders, you could interlace fingers behind your back. Lengthening the arms, inhale to lift the chest and exhale to fold forward. So lots of options for the arms. Just taking a variation that serves your practice and creates some space in your body. If your feet are very wide, you could heel toe them in a few times. And then you're going to inhale all the way up with a flat back. Release the webbing of the fingers, turn your right toes toward the top of your mat, and step your left foot forward, finding yourself in Tadasana at the top of the mat. Arms by your side, toes together, heels apart. Close your eyes, take a nice deep inhale through your nose, out of your mouth, exhale. And opening your eyes, breath comes back to the nostrils, we take Utkatasana again. Bending the knees, send the hips back, arms extending alongside the ears, maybe taking this a little bit deeper than the first Utkatasana. Hugging navel and ribs into body. Hip points wrapped toward navel. Sitting deeper, challenging yourself. Deep inhale. And exhale, folding forward, straightening the legs, any amount. Inhale, lifting halfway, pressing into shins. And then planting hands, stepping back or jumping back. Maybe the knees lower. Exhale, chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog, inhaling. And then chin to the chest, curl your toes under, exhale, downward dog. Warrior one, left foot forward, right heel, pivots in and grounds into the mat. So again, heel to heel alignment, or slightly wider to support balance. Bend deep into front knee. And as you ground into the back heel, can you wrap your right hip slightly forward? Maybe even feeling this a little bit more internally than a big external movement. Soften shoulders. And then lowering arms behind your back, opposite interlace of the fingers, so the more awkward side. Roll shoulders back, inhale, lift your chest, and then folding forward, bring the right shoulder to the left shoulder to the inside of your left knee. So grounding again really firmly into the feet, so you feel strong and supported, so that you can perhaps let the head hang heavy and let the sides of the neck get soft. Keep pulling left hip back and into the body. And then inhale, coming back up. Arms extending, warrior one. So come onto the ball of the back foot. And then straightening your back leg, letting the back heel sink. If your back heel comes all the way down to the mat, take a wider stance, just slightly. You can make adjustments as we go here. So straighten your front leg, and we're going to hinge from the hips, moving forward, folding over front leg. So again, if the hands don't come all the way down to the mat, you can place them on your hips. You place them onto blocks. You could even have a chair in front of you and forearms could rest on the chair. Just using even anything that you have around you. It doesn't have to be a yoga prop to support yourself. Keep sinking down through that back heel. And then inhale to lift halfway and lower the back knee down toward the mat. Heel toe the front foot forward, even just a few times. Hands come down to the mat. They could be on blocks as well. And then send the hips back, lengthening the front leg, half Hanumanasana, so half split. We're working toward it. Don't worry about what it looks like, just creating some space through the back of that front leg. So even if you have a deep bend or a small bend in the front leg, just start working towards straightening the leg over time. Allow the chest and the forehead to lengthen toward the toes on the left foot. And then coming forward, back into the left foot. And we're going to turn around into a wide-legged forward fold. So curl the back toes under, lift the knee, and walk the hands toward the right side of the mat. Great. So taking a different variation this time, maybe if you walked your hands toward your heels, you'll interlace your fingers behind your back. Or maybe walking your hands this time, or peace fingers around big toes. Hands could be on blocks, just finding some space through the back body. If you practice inversions, you could come into an inversion here if that's part of your practice. So tripod, headstand, maybe crow. A few more breaths. And bring your hands to your hips. Heel toe your feet in if they're very wide. Inhale halfway. Exhale. Inhale up to stand. Turn left toes toward the top of the mat, and then step forward into Tadasana. Toes together, heels apart, arms by your side. Closing your eyes, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Out of your mouth, exhale. Closing your mouth, breathing through your nostrils, open your eyes. Inhale, arms sweep up. And diving forward, exhale, melting over legs. Lifting halfway, inhale. And then plant your hands. You can step back or jump back, lowering the knees, or keeping them up, and run back. Cobra or upward dog, inhale. And then curl your toes and send your hips back, downward dog. Inhale, lift right leg up, and take right knee behind right wrist for pigeon. However, any injuries in the knee or anything happening in the knee, you can come into thread the needle. So laying on your back for thread the needle, right ankle over left thigh. In pigeon, we're bringing the shin toward the top of the mat. So interlace fingers behind the left thigh for thread the needle and draw the legs close. Use right elbow to press right knee away from you. And then in pigeon, if you can come down so that your hands can support forehead or stacked fists can support onto your forearms. Thread the needle, you can switch legs. And for pigeon, you'll press up into your hands if you're laying down. Finding yourself seated, curl your back toes under, pressing into your hands, press yourself back into downward dog. Great. And then from down dog, just lifting up the left leg, take the left knee toward the left wrist. Shin moving toward the top of the mat, uncurl back toes, and again, either remaining on hands, coming to forearms, or creating some support for your forehead with fists or hands. Thread the needle, same thing on the other side, left ankle over right thigh, interlacing fingers behind your right thigh, draw the legs close. So in these hip openers, sometimes tension comes into the face or the jaw. Sometimes the mind wanders. So just bring yourself back to your breath, allowing exhales to release tension from the body and inhales to bring space. If you're in thread the needle, you can release the legs. Just lay on your back with your knees bent and your feet grounded. If you're in pigeon, pressing yourself up to sit, rolling onto your left hip, swing your right leg out in front of you. And remain seated. So rocking up to sit if you're laying on your back, and we'll extend the legs out in front of us for a forward fold. Great. So legs are straight, feet are flexed. Any bend in the knee is fine, so we're straightening the legs any amount here. We're going to ground through both sit bones, and we're going to reach arms up alongside ears, inhaling. Exhale to fold forward. So everybody's forward fold always looks different depending on the space in the backs of the legs. So you may find yourself folding forward with hands to calves, feet are flexed, chest drawing toward toes, and maybe you can let the head melt, creating a rounding in the back of the neck. You could ground for outsides of feet, peace fingers around big toes, and then use that to draw yourself forward to small bend in the elbows, chest leading, rounding through the back of the neck as the head becomes heavy, sides of the neck get long. And slowly releasing, rolling up to sit. Keep your legs straight. Extend your fingertips out, shoulder height, and use your core strength, hugging navel and ribs in to lower yourself down onto your back. Very slowly with control. Once you've come to lay down, draw your knees in toward your chest, wrapping arms around your shins, feeling thighs compressing into abdomen, lifting forehead toward knees, giving yourself a tight squeeze, inhaling, and then exhale, open into corpse pose, Shavasana. Allow your feet to roll out to the corners of the mat, arms by your side. Take your arms far enough away from the body that air can circulate into your underarms and begin to cool the body. Pull your shoulder blades up into the back and allow your shoulder caps to sink heavy toward the mat. Rock your head left and right, massaging the back of your skull. Really slowly feeling all of the sensation in the back of the head. And then bring your head back to center. Open and close your jaw a couple of times. Let your lips be soft. Let eyes roll to the back of your head. You're surrendering here into stillness. Allow yourself to enjoy the relaxation that has come to you as a result of your practice and all of the effort that you've put in. Taking a moment to truly be grateful to yourself for the time that you've taken for your practice today. It's not easy taking time like this for yourself, so maybe even dedicating your practice to someone. Thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste.